Have you ever been asked to be someone's alibi at their alibi trial? The subpoena arrived on a Tuesday, ordering me to testify in the trial of Garrett Wolfe, charged with armed robbery. The problem? I'd never heard of Garrett Wolfe in my life, but apparently he'd told police he was with me at a pottery class during the robbery. Me specifically, by name, Jessica Rivera. Tuesday night, 7 to 9 p.m. at Crafty Hands Studio. I called the prosecutor's office immediately. There's been a mistake. I don't know this person. The assistant DA sounded tired. That's what they all say. Just show up, tell the truth, and let the jury decide. But she didn't understand. I actually was at pottery class that night, every Tuesday for the past year, working on my terrible bowls that looked more like abstract art. At the courthouse, Garrett's lawyer approached me. He showed me a photo of his client, a skinny guy with distinctive neck tattoos and piercing green eyes. Recognize him? I stared at the photo, then froze. The neck tattoos were fake, obviously, but those eyes. Holy shit. This was pottery guy, the one who'd been sitting across from me for months, the quiet one who made surprisingly delicate vases. That's Edmund, I blurted out. He's in my pottery class, but his name isn't Garrett. The lawyer smiled like he'd won the lottery. Would you testify to that? But something felt wrong. Edmund was weird, sure. Always wore long sleeves even in summer. Never talked about his life, but armed robbery? In court, I was sworn in and asked about Tuesday, March 15th. I was at pottery class, I confirmed. Was the defendant there? The defense asked. I looked at Garrett/Edmund/whoever, and he gave me this leading look. Yes, I said slowly. He was there, working on a vase. He always works on vases. The prosecutor stood up. Can you prove he was there the entire time? That's when things got interesting. I pulled out my phone. Actually, yes. I have a time-lapse video of my bowl that night. You can see him in the background the whole time. I'd been documenting my pottery journey for Instagram, trying to become one of those crafty influencers. Never thought it would matter. We watched the video in court. There was Edmund Garrett, clear as day, working on his vase from 7:03 to 8:47 p.m. The robbery happened at 7:45 p.m., 20 miles away. The prosecutor looked defeated, but then she zoomed in on something. What's that on his wrist when he reaches for the glaze? It was an ankle monitor. You could barely see it under his sleeve. The courtroom exploded. Turns out, Edmund was actually Garrett's identical twin brother Ernest, also a criminal, wearing an ankle monitor for a different crime. He'd been going to pottery class under the name Edmund to establish alibis for Garrett's crimes. They'd been switching places for years. The pottery teacher testified next. She revealed that Edmund had paid for a full year of classes in cash up front, always sat where security cameras could see him, and had never missed a Tuesday. He'd been building a library of alibis. Every piece he made, he'd photograph with timestamps, creating a digital trail of his presence. But here's the twist. I'd accidentally ruined their system. My time-lapse caught Ernest removing his ankle monitor in the bathroom at 8:15 p.m., probably to hand it off to Garrett, who'd run back from the robbery to swap it back. They'd been gaming the GPS monitoring system, making it look like Ernest never left his approved radius. The FBI got involved. Turns out, the twins had been doing this across 3 states. Ernest would establish presences in various classes, gyms, and regular activities while Garrett committed crimes. They had pottery alibis, cooking class alibis, even church choir alibis. The pottery teacher cried when she found out. Ernest's faces were actually beautiful, and she'd been planning to feature them in the studio's annual show. Both brothers were convicted. The prosecutor thanked me for the video, though she said it was the weirdest evidence she'd ever presented. The pottery studio became famous as the crime alibi place, and actually got more students. Everyone wanted to take classes where criminals had crafted both vases and false alibis. I still have the bowl I made that night. It's lopsided and glazed wrong, but it's technically evidence in a federal crime case. The FBI wanted to keep my phone for evidence, but I successfully argued that my entire pottery influence career depended on that content. They let me keep it after making copies. Ernest wrote me a letter from prison. He said he actually enjoyed pottery, that it was the only honest thing he'd done in years. He asked if I could send him photos of the vase he'd been working on. I didn't respond, but I did finish glazing it. It sits in the studio's display case now with a little card that says, "Made by Ernest, aka Edmund, aka Garrett's twin, don't do crime." Last week, someone new joined our pottery class, paid cash up front, and chose the same seat Ernest used to sit in. We all watched him suspiciously until he admitted he was just a true crime podcaster trying to get the vibes for his episode. The teacher made him prepay for 2 years and show 3 forms of ID. We're all paranoid now.